Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be talking about all the information we know so far about Smugglers Run and answering your guys' most popular questions that you asked me over on Twitter. Now, I am going to be skipping questions that I did specific videos on, like how much is the update going to cost, or where the hangar is going to be located, stuff like that, but I'm going to be trying to answer questions that weren't on the newswire and weren't featured in specific videos I did, but we have a ton to talk about today, so let's not waste any more time, and let's get it started. All right, our first question comes from Visual Effects, who says, how many cars do you think are coming in Smugglers Run? So I don't think it's going to be as many as people think. We have 2 confirmed cars so far, like the Ford Escort one, and then actually a supercar that Rockstar confirmed, like a gratis supercar, and they said there's more than 1 coming. So I think that there's going to be maybe 4 or 5 or 6. I think the big amount of vehicles is certainly going to be the aircrafts, though. I think the cars are going to be more of an afterthought, just something to include so that, you know, car people are still happy too. But I don't think there's going to be that many. Certainly not as many as the last DLC, gun running. I think it's only going to be a handful, maybe 4 or 5 or 6. All right, our next question comes from Luke, who says, do you think that Smugglers Run is going to require research? I hope not. That was probably the worst part of the gun running update, is the fact that we had to do research for most of the good items in the game, most of the, the wanted items that were added in the update. And Rockstar have confirmed that we're going to be able to upgrade these aircrafts. I'm hoping that there's not some sort of research built into the hangars too, although it would not shock me at all, considering how successful Rockstar probably feels about that in terms of the money they made and the shark card stuff like that. So I think there is going to be, just because of what we saw in gun running and how connected I think these 2 updates are going to be. So just be prepared for that a lot of the cool items you're probably going to see on the planes and stuff like that will most likely be locked behind some sort of paywall and will most likely be, put behind a research tab that you're going to have to wait out, or spend a pretty penny in order to get rid of the timer or something like that. But anyways, let's move on to another question. This one from the Red Robber 08, who says, do you think Rockstar will add new weapons with the Smugglers Run DLC? I don't think so, Red Robber. I think that we got a lot of, I won't say new weapons, but upgrades to existing weapons with gun running, and that was obviously the focus of that DLC, whereas this one I think is way more specifically on the aircrafts and the missions themselves. So I don't think we're going to be getting any new weapons. We didn't see any in the trailer. We didn't see any in the screenshots, so it certainly wouldn't surprise me if there wasn't any. Would it be nice if there was 1 or 2? Yeah, absolutely. I think there will be new weapons on the aircrafts, but as far as new weapons for our characters, I don't think so. Speaking of that, this question comes from Imax, who says, do you think griefing will be worse in GTA Online with the upcoming planes and stuff? So I don't necessarily think so, because if you think about it, with gun running, we got a ton of anti-air stuff. We have the anti-aircraft trailer, we have the APC tank, all these, vehicles that are designed to take out aircrafts, the explosive sniper rifle rounds. So I think that it's going to be balanced nicely. I think that there will definitely be some very powerful planes like the bomber, and I'm sure there's going to be some fighter jets that are going to rival the Hydra in terms of its effectiveness in killing others. But I think it's all going to depend on, number 1, the lobby you're in. Some are way worse than others. And number 2, just the kind of balance you have and what you sort of use. You could easily take out a jet or a helicopter with an explosive sniper rifle round, but you may not have that unlocked yet. So again, it's all going to depend. Hopefully Rockstar balances it, but I think this just contributes to the fact that free mode is becoming way more of a war zone than it used to be back in like 2016 and 2015. All right, our next question comes from DecalMan47, who says, do you think these hangars will be like gun running in the sense that you can access it with an MC or a CEO? So that was actually kind of tricky because they didn't mention anything about that on the newswire, nor did they mention anything about that on the trailer. However, if it's connected in the same way gun running is, I could see it being both. To me, it has more of a CEO feel rather than an MC feel, just because it looks like it's way more connected to the finance and felony stuff than any of the biker stuff, because it has like the packages and the crates and that you store and then you ultimately sell. So if I had to take a guess, if I could only choose one, I would say the CEO stuff, but I think Rockstar likes having players have an option to choose MC or CEO to be able to access this stuff, and I think the hangars will probably end up performing the exact same way. Speaking of the hangars themselves, this next question comes from Jake, who says, do you think the hangars will be an add-on to the bunkers, or will they be their own building? I think they're going to be their own building. So I talked about where the hangars could potentially be, and I think there's about 3 or 4 or 5 good locations like Los Santos International Airport, Fort Zancudo. I don't think they're going to be add-ons to the hangars. I think that Rockstar could add the hangars into the game, kind of like what they did with the bunkers, how they added the hatch. Like, they could add buildings into the existing world, but I don't think that's the case. I think they're going to utilize the big hangars that we have in the game right now. I don't think they're going to be just plopping them at random parts of the world. So be on the lookout for them separate from the bunkers. This is my guess, at big airports like Fort Zancudo and Los Santos International Airport. All right, our next question comes from Robbie, who says, do you think we'll finally be able to sell Pegasus vehicles after this update, or at least the Pegasus planes? So I don't think so. I think it'll function similar to how the technical custom and the Insurgent pickup custom works, where we're going to bring these Pegasus vehicles, whether new or old, into the hangar, upgrade them, customize them, and then once we upgrade and customize them, we'll be able to sell them. I don't think we're just going to be able to sell Pegasus planes, right off the menu right now. I think they'd have to be upgraded first, where at a minimum you'd still be losing money. So I think like I said, it'll function very similar to that. But I also think at the same rate, Rockstar are going to be kind of careful with what old planes they want customized, because it is kind of tricky for them to, have to upgrade older vehicles like that. But at the end of the day, no, I don't think Rockstar is just going to hand over Pegasus selling for us. I think that's a feature that they just don't really want, or that's tricky for them. But who knows? They may surprise us. And if they give us the ability to clean out our Pegasus list too, that would be amazing. Okay, this next question is kind of interesting. It is coming from Christian, who says, do you believe Rockstar will drip feed Smugglers Run until December? So they did mention on the newswire that they had more holiday celebrations coming up, and they said Halloween and Christmas were in the mix, but December, do you realize how many weeks of drip feed that would be in order to get till December? That would be 16 weeks. If you thought the gun running drip feeding was bad at 8 weeks, imagine 2 times that. So I don't think so. I think that Smugglers Run is going to be separate from the Transform races, the other thing that Rockstar teased on their newswire. And I think in the Transform races, that's when they're going to include the Christmas stuff. I think that the Halloween stuff is probably inside of this update, as Halloween isn't necessarily all that far away since it's the start of September. But I don't think they will include the Christmas stuff. That is just way too long and way too far away in order to drip feed. I mean, 16 weeks would literally be nuts. And I guess I kind of just answered this question, but it comes from Pikachu for the win 91, who says, do you think there will be another DLC before Christmas that includes the Christmas DLC, or do you think it's tied into this one? I think there has to be another update. Number one, with the Transform races, I think that would be a lot of content to include in this one update. And 16 weeks, that's literally over 4 months. So that's nuts, and I don't think they would do that. I think that that would just be way, way too much for Rockstar to include. So my prediction is that this update, Smugglers Run, will have the Halloween stuff. The next one, Transform Races, will have the Christmas stuff. Our next question comes from Trey, and he says, do you think there will be missions for the new vehicles in order to get discounts on them? Yeah, I do. I think that Rockstar's done this with import-export. They did this with gun running. This is another similar business update. So yeah, I do believe that we will be getting discounts on these vehicles once we complete the missions for them. Now, that is indeed if there is missions for them. There could not be. Rockstar could have decided not to add missions, something like this. They could have decided to do the free mode missions only and skip out on sort of the MOC office style missions, but that would be unfortunate because I could see Rockstar and us having a lot of fun with Crazy Nervous Ron, doing some awesome missions like that. So hopefully that's the case, and hopefully you're right, we do get some discounts along the way as well. Samuel says, how many hangars do you think we will get, and where do you think they'll be located? So I've said where I think they'll be located. As far as how many we'll get, I'm going to say this amount is going to be closer to the CEO offices. So the bunkers and the biker clubhouses were a lot. And I think that because those buildings were smaller and because Rockstar could add the little hatches in the world, there was a good amount of them. But because I think these are going to be actual physical hangars, like buildings that exist in the world, I think there's only going to be about a handful, 4 or 5, at a couple different runways and airports. And I think that would also tie it a little bit more closely to CEO with the finance and felony stuff, since I believe there's only 4 CEO offices as well. So that's kind of my prediction as far as how I think that is going to go. Up next, we have a question from Glenn, who says, do you think they will finally allow us to buy laser jets in Smugglers Run? I hope that they add a bunch of vehicles to the website that aren't on there right now. I think the laser jet is one of them. I'm not sure what other planes are not available. Maybe like the crop duster feature or something like that. I have no idea, but that would be cool if they added some vehicles in the game right now that you can't buy, and they added them to the websites. It doesn't have to just be airplanes. It can be other vehicles. It can be other sort of cars, stuff like that. So that's a good question, Glenn, and I hope Rockstar do end up doing that. Speaking of things I hope Rockstar do, this next question comes from Crackalakin, who says, do you think we'll be able to open the doors on the Titan or new Cargobob in the new update? I hope they give us some cool aircraft features. That's a really nice one right there, being able to more easily open the extra or special doors on vehicles like what you mentioned, the Titan or the Cargobob. And I think that with this update, it may end up being the case. That would actually be really cool. I mean, we can do it with mods in single player. Why can't we do it in online? We can do it with cars, opening the hood and the trunk. So yeah, that would be awesome. I really hope that's the case, that they add cool aircraft features like that. So that would be a great addition to the game. This next question comes from Obey, who says, why did Rockstar announce this DLC 1 week before it comes out? I'm not entirely too sure. This was almost a surprise update. They gave us about 4 days to prep for this DLC, whereas with gun running, we had information leading up to it for multiple weeks. So again, I'm really not too sure why they decided to just spring this on us. I'm sure they have a grand plan with some of their tunables content, or like the Halloween or Christmas update that they want to include in this, or something along those lines. But yeah, they didn't give us a whole lot of time to get ready for this update. All right, our final question also comes from Rob, who says, do you think Smugglers Run will bring us a new best way to make money in GTA Online? I'm sure it will be competitive with the other money-making methods we have in the game, whether it's selling your bunker supply, exporting cars, running your biker business, or doing the finance and felony stuff. I'm sure that it will be equally as competitive. Now, it might be a little bit different. The bunker stuff and the biker stuff a little bit more passive. The finance and felony import-export stuff a little bit more hands-on. So which one of those is it going to be? I'm not entirely too sure. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, it will be a pretty great way to make some money in online. But anyways, that's all the information that I'm going to be talking about for you guys in this video today. I know it was a long one, but since we only had one Q&A, a session before this update, you guys were asking like a whole bunch of questions that I wanted to include in here. So sorry about this video going probably way too long, but I wanted to try and get everyone's question answered. As always, if you want to try and get involved in the next one, all you got to do is go in the description, follow me on Twitter, and use that hashtag AskBoss whenever looking for Q&A questions, and you might find yourself featured in the next one. If you did go and enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And also, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new, or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.